Yeah, not paying attention.
Nah. It's a serious video, man. It was about traveling and how Morocco had messed up some black people in their travels, and they were talking about
Co-education.
Morocco ain't down with black people, man. That's what the video was telling me, and I was like, dog, like I ain't even know that.
That was not what it was.
Well,
Yeah, okay. All right, this guy.
I'm glad that
Anyways,
you were attempting to enlighten.
that's what I'm saying, because I was thinking about going to Morocco one day, but now I'm like,
One day.
I don't know.
Look at us planning trips,
It's not like
international trips.
that's the only perspective. That's the only group of their people.
And the thing
The
is,
Moroccan person that I grew up with, she was very sweet. Her name was Manel. She's great. What you guys say?
that's the thing that the two people that I know from Morocco.
Of course, he knows.
I mean, obviously, they are black descent, so I will say that. But it's like they fire.
I'm at that, but it's still nice to have that to shape the perspective.
It just made me think a little.
Love the dialogue, fellas, but there's some important football things we need to get to.
Yep, and I'm about to start it right now. So, what up? Welcome in to our first, but not first, episode of 2024. Unfortunately, our last one that we had our special guest Chanel on for technical difficulties, which everybody told us about. When we went back and listened to it, it sounded like trash. So we apologize for that. Hopefully, today's sounds.
Oh, that was a good episode.
It was sounded. So I had to take it down because we got standards. But Chanel, after the Steelers have won, she has agreed to come back on so that we can do this again, run it back on Thursday. So she will be here Thursday for our show to get into the Bills versus Steelers. So you already know it's going to be a heated conversation back and forth. So she will definitely be sitting her behind over there.
Oh, wow.
But yes, welcome into Our Spoken Say What You Mean What You Say. As usual, I'm Cordell.
Marcus.
Bob.
Dose, what's good?
We need to talk about that.
Happy National Championship Day.
Yes, speaking of National Championship Day, it's starting pretty soon, so I want to go ahead and get into it. We're focused. I'm focused.
Oh, come on.
We got about 5 minutes before this thing starts. I want to make sure we talk about it, shake things up before we even get into the NFL stuff. Let's go ahead, talk about this national championship we got going on between Michigan and Washington. I'm going to assume, a lot of prospects for the draft in this game.
Stop being rude.
There are a number of NFL drafts.
I know there are 3 for sure
draft prospects
on wide receivers.
Washington, but on
Washington
side where you have Michael.
I wasn't just looking at that.
You have Madunze, you have Jalen McMillan, you have Jalen Polk if he declares.
Look at that, he just named 3.
You have
Jalen McMillan.
You have Jalen Trice, the top edge rusher for Washington. But then if you go to the Michigan side, Blake Corum, JJ McCarthy, Cornelius Johnson is another.
You got the dude number 0, Sanders still or something still from number 0.
Sandra still.
Yeah,
the corner. You got Barrett, Michael Barrett, the linebacker. You got Rod Moore starting strong safety for Michigan. So there are a number of guys in this game that could definitely have their name placed in the NFL draft coming.
I just want to see how Michael Penix play. That's really what I'm looking for. We always talk about the arm talents. Seeing what he could do against a good defense.
He's got it.
Texas plays a little more standard defense. We're going to see if Michigan can throw some things, throw him off, see how he responds.
I mean, I will say, like, with Texas, their weakness was their DBs. Yeah. And Washington was able to exploit that. Yeah. We'll see what they can do with Michigan's DBs.
Michigan is going to
be a good battle because I think Washington's, their receivers are going to give them a test. It might be the best set of receivers Michigan has played since Ohio State.
Those 3 receivers, Polk, McMillan, and Odunze, they had last game 19 of 20, 2 touchdowns, 353 yards.
Lethal.
Just those 3.
It's a lethal trio at receiver. Man.
Different.
So we should have a good game tonight. We'll see. Best team wins. A lot is on the line for both programs, especially for Michigan, with Harbaugh being suspended twice, and the rumors.
The storylines are there.
Rumors of him going off to the NFL once the game is over. We'll see.
Pac-12 is cooked. Imagine if they get a little champion on
they get a championship before their conference is disbanded. I wonder if they'll regret leaving.
I don't know about regret leaving, but Pac-12 is definitely going to stick their chest out a little bit if they win the Natty. Like, see, y'all want to get rid of us.
But they got rid of themselves.
They did.
at the end of the day, it's like the teams that were good that kind of ran the Pac-12, they're the ones that left on their own.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, I will say it did start off with USC and UCLA. And then from there, Oregon and Washington followed suit, and then kind of everybody else did what they did. But it just goes to show that the Pac-12 was a good conference. Now, granted, like nobody thought that they would have a team other than USC and Oregon that would compete for
Yeah, a lot of ranked teams
championships.
this year.
But
Like,
they've had solid teams throughout the years that people can respect, and I think Washington has become one of those teams that people are like, okay, they're in the national championship picture since the last time they made it to the college football playoff.
Should be a good game though, right? Not like last year.
it should be.
Oh yeah,
Hopefully it's
not like last
So
year.
who do you guys got?
Oh,
Michigan's formula
Man.
in games like this, where they can slow it down, they'll run heavy offense. JJ McCarthy is kind of like the Russell Wilson in a way. He really isn't asked to do much, just not turn the ball over and put your team in position to succeed. I feel like their style of play is more built for a championship game like this, but Washington is more fun. So I'm gonna go with Washington.
I'm gonna say Michigan, but I do think Washington gets Michigan out of their element a little bit tonight.
That's what I'm Penny's gonna show up.
Man, like I would love for Washington to win this based solely off of the whole Pac-12 disbanding,
Right.
and they get kind of, a last laugh by winning
On
a
their-
championship
Yep.
on their way out. And I love Penix, love the receivers, but I think this is one of those days where they play a Michigan team that defense is different.
Yeah.
And they're gonna show why.
Yeah.
I think it'll still be a close game, but I think Michigan pulls it out.
So we have what? 1, 2 Michigan and Washington. Is that where we're at?
Yep.
All right,
Go
we're gonna
Dogs.
lock that in. Games back.
Who you got?
Huh?
You got to choose somebody. You don't watch college football, but you got to choose.
Lord have mercy. The fact that you put that out there.
It's crazy, right?
We're an NFL show. That's okay.
That's what I'm saying. He's not a college football guy.
I'm gonna take Washington.
Beautiful.
All right.
We like
Hey,
purple,
look.
color of royalty.
Better quarterback.
Let's keep it pushing.
I'm taking Washington because
Hey,
I'm
look,
hoping,
that's not
I'm
always the
hoping the
case.
wide receivers put on a show for me. That, you know where my mind is. I'm here for these wide
He
receivers.
wants Rome. That's why.
If y'all have anything to say to see
When in Rome-
wants to be a guest on the show.
He better get to work.
No, you know what?
Pay your bills.
Chanel coming up this week. How about this? If the Chiefs take care of business
Mm.
and beat the Dolphins
Right.
next week, you choose.
Hey, pull up.
You could be on the Thursday of the game over.
So you can answer some questions.
On this hoe.
Monday, it's been spoken. Monday's show,
Run from that smoke now. Y'all better win.
whether you win or lose, clearly you are going to be required to be here for it. All right, so let's get into the NFL. Let's get into Week 18, the fallout that's all happened. I'm gonna start with us.
One not done.
I bought this 4 years ago,
We're
and
effective
it's
most of the
still relevant. So
Hey, to this day.
to this day, bought it 4 years
Right.
ago. Ain't nothing changed.
To this day.
We said what Josh Allen's record is against the Dolphins. How they tried to lose this game for the Dolphins,
They really did.
Oh boy.
and
They did.
the Dolphins. Tua did what Tua does when he plays the Bills. I will say that. And now you can say that he just can't beat good teams. It ain't home or away. You just lost to a good team home, so it ain't the home or away thing. You guys just struggle against good teams, and the only good team you beat was a team that's bad on the road.
I mean, yeah,
All
all
defenders.
points are pointing towards that, and they had their opportunity and they missed it. They were up 14-7 in the fourth quarter. They had their opportunity to put the game away, and the Dolphins they couldn't do it. And even when it was tied at 14-14, they still couldn't find a way to even get a field goal. So, yeah, at the end of the day, we could say all we want about how talented the Dolphins is and what their potential could be, but we saw Tyreek Hill drop some balls that could have, converted first down. So the defense played out of their mind to the best of their ability, but it's a team game, and Team couldn't pull through.
And before,
Oh, I was about to read what you. Go ahead.
oh, you okay? Well, I still thought that you can take that, but what I do want to say is that if there's a narrative out there that is saying, well, they didn't have Jalen Waddle, please understand that their offense put up the same amount of points of production as they did the first time with Waddle. Okay? They only got to 20 after the Bills pulled out. Pause. Just when they finally got to 20, but they only put up 14 points on the starting defense in that game. And again, it is the same as far as their production in points. So I don't want Dolphins fans using that as some sort of excuse. That is not an excuse. With or without him, that is what your product is. Now, I can't remember if Mostert played in their first game.
He did.
He did, right? Okay, so
but A-Chan was the one that got most of the carries at that time.
Yeah. I remember that part. That's why I said I couldn't remember if Mostert was a part of it. So, with all that being said, with your full starting lineup, it was the same product. That's all I'm gonna say.
My thing is, you guys have heard me talk enough about playoff football and things of that nature, and I always say, this is time of the year where you need to be playing your best ball right now, going into the postseason. You're right. The Bills tried to get that game away, and I can't help but think if they would have they were a little more healthier, they might have won that game. They might have won.
That's possible, but
they were a little more healthier. But I have to give the Bills credit because you go into another game, you go into a do or die, basically a do or die situation. First 2 drives of the game, you start off with interceptions.
Yep.
Normally, that's the recipe, that's the formula for having a road loss, especially in division. You're starting off like that.
Yeah.
So I got to give them credit for finding a way to still win the game somehow, some way. I will say this: going into the playoffs right now, granted they found ways to win, but Josh has got to dial that down in the postseason. He has to. I know you are probably like, hey, this is who he is. I live with it, but he's got to turn that down. Like, I don't know if I can see them winning in the playoffs if he has another 3 turnover game.
It's weird to say tone it down because that's how they handle their business. Like, it's one of the things you just have to hope that on whatever day Josh Allen is going out there doing what he needs to do, that he isn't turning the ball over because he still has to play the same way in order for the Bills to go get.
I've seen him win games and play crisp without turning the ball over. Like
I've seen where Josh Allen really wasn't a factor was that game against the Cowboys where y'all just ran the ball.
Going into that might have been the best game they played all year.
That was not a planned thing. Joe Brady already came out. He said that was not the game script. It was just working. So why am I going to stop?
Well, yeah, which is what people do. But it was. I mean, going into it, what was the talk the entire week? You playing a weak Cowboys run defense? They probably need to run the ball a little bit more. And lo and behold, dude had 12 passes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel you got to take the good with the bad. Like, it's one of the things you understand the nature of their situation. The Bills can beat anybody, and the Bills can lose to anybody. Like, it's really strange how y'all have built this brand for yourselves.
It scares me.
It should in the playoffs.
To me, subtracting the Chiefs and the Dolphins, for the most part, the Dolphins, except for this game, because they definitely played with their food, the Dolphins on this one. But for the most part, the only team that I've seen them not play with their food with is the Chiefs. Josh doesn't have turnovers against the Chiefs. When he plays the Chiefs, it's clean through and through.
If they have to go on the road to Baltimore and he has another 3 turnover game, you guys think they're winning?
I don't think they would.
Nah, I think
they ain't playing Baltimore at home.
I said if they have to go to Baltimore.
That's what I'm saying. They would never play Baltimore at home. They would have to go to Baltimore.
No, that's not. You're missing the question.
If they have to go to Baltimore,
have to
go to Baltimore for the AFC title game.
Yes.
Okay.
He has a 3 or 4 turnover game.
No.
It depends.
No.
It depends. No. Just like in this game, it depends on what my defense does. Because if you're telling me like he had a 3 turnover game, right? But the turnover differential was only 1. See what I'm saying?
Yes, because Tua had 2.
2 had 2. So
But it's a
what my
different point.
defense
You
is
give
doing.
it, okay, Tua had 2 more opportunities to put points on the board. You give those same 2 or 3 extra opportunities to Lamar.
Mhm.
You don't think Lamar makes you pay?
He hasn't in the past, and that's all I can go off of right now.
It depends.
You don't know.
Like with the Ravens, they were one of the teams that shoot themselves in the foot too. Most of the games that they have this year, they've gone into the fourth quarter with the lead, and they blew 3 of those leads, right? And 2 of them, Lamar threw a pick 6 against the Browns. He had the pick against the
pick 6 against the Browns. That was also a hell match.
It was fluky.
But again, it still was one of the things. No points. Like it was still that wasn't the only drive. He had a 14.
And then so when we think about now, granted, that is true that they have blown leads, but when you think about it, it's like, okay, the Colts, Justin Tucker missing field goals, like is that like that's just crazy. Obviously, like what we said with the Browns, the pick 6 off the guy's helmet, it ended up being a pick 6 back. That was fluky. And then the Steelers, I mean, that was just that was a rivalry game, division game. It just got away from them. They threw a pick at the end. Get that. But like the one thing that I'll say with the Ravens is when they play good teams, they show up and they play those good teams.
You could say the same thing for the Bills subtracting the Bengals game last year.
No. But the Ravens dominate good teams.
The Bills don't get dominated.
But they dominate good teams. Did we say that?
No. I'm just saying. I'm just saying to cancel out. I'm saying they didn't get dominated.
49ers get dominated? Did they get dominated against the Ravens? They didn't.
They've been dominated before. Not with Purdy at the helm. They've been dominated before. The Bills dominated. Dominated before. I'm saying Josh and McDermott, when they lose, all of their games are within a touchdown differential. They don't get dominated except for that Bengals game. I don't know what to tell you about that.
Well,
so, I mean, hold on. I was gonna flip to the Dolphins side. To get too hot. Okay.
Say in terms of y'all's defense and the Dolphins' offense trying to put up points with or without Waddle. What they did in the second half was 3 and out, 3 plays, 9 yards. They had the
4 and out.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, they'll have the punt return for the touchdown. Then they 3 and out again, 3 and out again, and then interception
4 and out
to end the game.
Yeah, the one thing that they did was they was able to have long drives to where it minimized the Dolphins' possessions, and then they also had the 3 and outs that made the Dolphins really not put up any type of yards in the second half.
Exact way the Bills have been playing in the last 2 years. They take away the big play. They force Miami to have 10 play drives, which Miami's not necessarily used to.
No, that's what I think it's more of Miami's 3 and outs, and like time of possession is always so slim with them. But with the Bills, it's almost like twice as much every matchup.
Okay. I do want to focus on Miami real quick, but I think that the difference is that the Bills, if you want them to go on a 12, 14 play drive, they can do it. Miami does not do 12, 14 play drives. And that's why the time of possession goes that way, because they do not, and if you listen to any of the national media or anybody, chunk plays, that's the key. Chunk plays. They need to get big chunk plays, and it's like you're not going to get that on this team, so you're going to have to do it. So hold on. So flipping it now, we talked about the Bills and what we got going on for them. Now Dolphins, they get the loss. They're the 60. They're going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come.
Oh man, you missed me on that one, big dog. Jackson 5 Jones, I've been right there.
So they're going to Kansas City. Nobody knows. Maybe I got mental stages for them, when they were still at the Apollos.
Who's loving you?
So
my notes.
How do we? You were feeling pretty good about them mid-season and on. They were supposed to be AFC champs. You were feeling great about them at the beginning of the season.
AFC title game.
And you had them in the AFC title game. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Dolphins,
Bills, Ravens, and the.
Yeah, but how did you feel about them? Did you ever?
I didn't have the Dolphins making the playoffs.
You didn't have them making the playoffs.
I had the Jets making the playoffs.
Okay, and I did too. So we're on the same page as far
I
as
mean,
we
it
were.
definitely.
So how are we? Where's our meter?
If you would have asked me before the Dallas game, if you would have told me, hey, the Dolphins are not going to win the division, but they're still going to be in the playoffs and they're going to have to go on the road to Arrowhead. If you would have told me that before that Cowboys game, I would have been like, I think the Dolphins would beat them. Now, I'm not certain. There's too many injuries. This team is limping into the postseason right now. They are in dire straits, at least defensively, in my opinion, for them to not only beat Kansas City, but to have a postseason run.
Mhm.
Because a lot of these guys are going for good. Like Jalen Phillips is going for good. Bradley Chubb's going for good. Who knows how long Xavier Howard is going to be out?
And then the linebacker they just lost.
Jerome Baker and Van
Baker
Ginkel.
and Van Ginkel. Jerome
Yes.
Baker just had surgery today, so he's going to be out for the post. Like it's one of those things where they don't have nicks and bruises. Like no, they are beat to hell going into the postseason right now.
Even Jalen Ramsey was getting cooked by Stephon Josh.
No, to be honest, for Jalen Ramsey, this is his kryptonite. Like I've never seen a player.
And Jamar.
It's elite wide receivers.
Nah,
So you think he's shutting him down?
Because Jamar was hitting him with those double moves in the Super Bowl, and he was falling for him every single time.
but it didn't really lead to too much. You got to think the one. No. Remember that touchdown with the T. Higgins one? That was offensive pass interference on
They
Higgins.
didn't call.
Yeah, they
Yes.
didn't.
But also remember that if it wasn't for his name just left me.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald saved
I mean,
Ramsey.
that happens to any. That happens to any.
Because if that sack don't happen,
That happens. But at the end of the day, like I feel like Ramsey is still elite to me.
Talk about Jalen. It shouldn't happen.
It
as
shouldn't
much as it
happen.
do.
y'all be talking about him like he Revis Island, and
No.
he's not.
He's not close.
No,
Nah, he's not.
I used to talk about him.
I've always questioned whether or not he's the best.
No, I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying, like that's the perspective. It was like, okay, after Revis, it was Sherman, and then after Sherman, it was Ramsey. Like it's like somebody else picks up the pedestal.
Sherman.
The moment I truly questioned,
Sherman.
the moment I truly questioned
They
him,
were simultaneous.
the moment I
No,
truly,
no, no. But you got the Legion of Boom, and then you had Sherman, who with the Patriots won Defensive Player of the Year in like 2018, 2019.
Gilmore, you're talking about,
Yeah, Gilmore, yeah.
But they were there at the same time.
Richard Sherman Johnson. Point, and Stephon Gilmore was the guy when he fell off.
Jalen Ramsey ain't him no.
No,
He's
I
good.
don't think he was
He's
ever.
good. I think he was ever.
nah. With the Jaguars, nah, he was.
But the game that really brought attention to my eyes was that season opener against the Bills.
Yeah, he.
Oh, head.
Your lunch money taken.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh,
What?
last year.
Last year against the Rams.
You got your lunch money taken.
And it was going to be Josh.
And from that point on, I
Yeah.
always looked at Jalen like he's good, but he ain't the best. He ain't him.
Yeah, he's not.
He just talked a lot.
That's it.
And that brings attention to him.
But in that Jaguar scheme, he was really good.
No, I won't say Jaguars game. Nah, he was.
Good.
He was really good.
Because he was good. But man, that Jacksonville defensive front made life a little easier.
Calais Campbell is blocking
Like
6
let me-
years. It's
But
not.
when the Dolphins,
But you can say the same with them Reeves because of not to say that Reeves wasn't elite, but I'm just saying they had a great defensive front set.
but with the Dolphins right now going into the playoffs again, I don't like the current state that they're in, given the injuries and given the fact that in all likelihood they may have to go on the road for the entire postseason if they were to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, nah, they won't.
I'm not confident in them right now as I was before that Dallas game.
To Jake's
Yeah,
credit,
so-
though, their defense did get better when he came back into the lineup.
They got better. Okay, you're better than Eli Apple.
I wish their defense, like he came in, had a pick his first game back. You know what I'm saying? Like he did seem as though
I mean, he had 3 picks in
it
5 games.
correlated.
He had 3 in 5 games.
Their defense getting better.
Yeah, he had
Later
2
with
against the
him.
Raiders. Yeah.
Since he came back, and if I even compare that with Rasul Douglas has been better than he has been. especially in the turnover rate department.
But I
He
also
got 5.
think that's the
I'm
Bills'
just saying.
scheme. I also think that's the Bills' scheme because
Yes.
it seems like no matter who you put in,
No, that's not
they're
Except
productive in some way,
Except
shape, or form,
Kyer.
except for Kyer.
because nobody else until he came in, they were not getting interceptions.
No. Okay, yeah.
Like
Okay.
he's interceptions
Yeah,
plus.
still good.
It's still he became middle of the pack.
Sewell has always had good balls.
Yeah, I know, which I didn't know, but now I know. But they didn't. Yeah, but they were middle of the pack. They at the end of the
Somebody
season.
was thinking.
At the end of the season, they were able to get back into the top 10, but they fell off at the
Middle of the-
defense. They fell out of the top 10. So to me, yeah, you fell into the middle of the pack when you fall out of the top.
But
10.
anyway,
but
I'm
yes,
concerned about them going in Arrowhead.
Yeah, and I'm
Alright.
also concerned.
Next concern, Eagles.
They're losing in the wild card.
Man, look, let me put my cup down.
They're losing.
So we got one at a
I gotta
time.
talk to the camera with this.
Please.
Philly,
Oh Jesus, not the Connors.
you lost 5 of your last 6. 10-1. 10-1.
First team to not make it to 12 wins after being 10-1.
10-1. You lost 5 of your last 6. Okay. I mentioned this to you earlier today. I'm concerned because this team is going to the postseason with no identity on offense. You've had 18 weeks to establish that, and you still don't know offensively who you are. That is a huge problem. Not to mention AJ's dinged up now. They got a couple. They Devontae's dinged up.
Swift.
Hell, I mean, Jalen's finger is
Yes.
wiggled.
Everybody just.
You know what? I would not be surprised if Tampa wins.
They are gonna win.
I would not be surprised. Matter of fact, I'm picking Tampa.
They should
No
be the
lip
favorite.
surprise
I'm
either.
going
So
to
it's
declare that
The
right
second time.
Tampa
Is this their third matchup against each other
now. Second.
second in the playoffs?
in the playoffs? Is their
Mhm.
second time? And the first time Brady beat them.
Mhm.
Brady beat him. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going, and all 3 times were in. Well,
In
actually,
Tampa.
in Tampa. Well, no, they did play. They had a regular season matchup there in Philly
Yeah,
Couple years
this
ago.
year.
a couple years ago.
Oh, they also have one this year.
No, that one was in Tampa.
Last
They
year,
had a regular season matchup.
Mm.
It was because I remember Antonio Brown had a big catch late, and they were Tampa was struggling against that Eagles team.
So this will be his
He made a
fourth
couple-
matchup against
Right.
the Bucks.
I'm picking Tampa. I know we might not have been going the route of making picks, but I'm picking Tampa. This team is, I don't know who the hell they are right
They don't
No,
know.
they don't.
now. It took you 18 weeks and you have no identity on what is arguably the strength of the team. You still don't know who you are. You don't know if you want to run the football. You don't know if you want to force feed AJ Brown. You don't know if you want to spread the ball around. You don't know if you want to include Jalen Hurts in the run game packages. You have no idea what the hell you want to do.
None.
And that's a problem to me right now.
And they can't
Yeah,
stop a
right.
nosebleed.
Dude,
They got the third worst scoring defense. Third most points per game is allowed by the Eagles. I think they're the only team in the playoffs that's not at least like top 20. Like I want to say the top 7 scoring defenses are all in the playoffs, and the Eagles are at 30th. They've allowed 31 points twice to the Commanders this year. Just speaking on what I watched what Sam Howell, who got benched twice later in the season, do versus the Eagles. That is disgusting.
That's nasty.
They just put up 10 points against the Giants.
No, my God.
They couldn't beat the good teams.
My
The
God.
Cowboys late in the season, the 49ers late in the season, couldn't handle their business against them. They're not doing like the little things that we saw the Cowboys and the Lions and teams like that, the Dolphins do against bad teams. The Eagles can't even do that. It feels like they are fighting for everything against every team. And for a team who just went to the Super Bowl last year, the expectation was so much better. It really might speak to them losing their offensive and defensive coordinators and what that does to their game plan and how they go about handling their business. But I get on all facets, it all feels questionable. Like it's there, but it's again the question: what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
What is your identity? Who are you giving the ball to? AJ Brown was getting the ball a lot. He had 7 straight 100-yard games at a particular point in time, and then he just stopped getting the ball. Like even if that's your identity, go ahead and work with that. You've had games against the Vikings. DeAndre Swift had 175 yards rushing. We've seen games where you get the ball down to one push. You know what I'm saying? Like I again don't know what their identity is either. That's the biggest question. But I think it comes back to their coordinators, and we underplayed how. Y'all mentioned it earlier in the season, but I think we underplayed how severe that could affect them going forward.
Yeah, I think the way it looked is, teams essentially found out how to stop them, and they never were able to have like a counter punch. Like we saw, like, okay, in the beginning, it's like, yeah, the offense is sputtering, but they're still finding ways to win because they're calling the right plays, they're making the right plays at the end when they need it, or they're making the right plays defensively, making stops when they need it. But it got to a point where after the loss of the 49ers, not only did it seem like teams figured them out offensively, where they're just like, hey, we're essentially going to, blitz Hurts, and it just seemed like he could never know where to go with the football. And it seemed like every time he got outside of the pocket, usually a guy that's good as a dual threat quarterback, you would expect that, okay, if he gets outside the pocket, he can make something happen with his legs or with his arms. We've seen that with Josh. We've seen that with Mahomes. We've seen that with Burrow.
Yeah,
We've seen that with Lamar. Yeah, with Dak, where it's like if they get out the pocket, you're like, dang, like where's the play coming from? Because you know that, okay, they can make something happen outside the pocket. Jalen Hurts has not been able to do that at all. And I don't know if it's just the receivers and him not being on the same page when he does break the pocket, or if he just breaks the pocket so early that they're still in their route, so they don't even know that he broke it. Like, it's just so much confusion with that offense, and the defense has just been downright horrendous. Ever since they lost the ability to rush the pressure the passer, it's just been awful. DBs, Slay and Bradbury have been getting cooked, and Ringo and anybody that they put back there.
Safeties are a liability.
Safety. And we knew safety was going to be a liability because they lost both.
Right.
They down the middle of the defense, they lost safeties, they lost the inside linebacker. So we felt like that was going to be an issue with them. But this has become like insanely bad.
Ugly.
Like I just have no faith in this team.
It's very
when they were 10-1, I felt like, okay, they're sputtering, but they're still finding ways to win games. So I felt like they could get it together.
Yeah.
But they have been awful, just awful. And I feel like this is going to be one of those teams where it's like it's a first round exit, and they're just going to have to figure out what they want to do and how they want to move forward. But yeah, first round exit for me.
I'm going to keep this thing pushing. There's nothing else that I could honestly add to it. So, I mean,
Baker is healthy.
It's been hit.
Yeah.
Even if not healthy.
Everybody was healthy.
They
still lose.
Baker was limping heavy in the game.
And losing 5 of their last 6, they've had four of those losses. They've given up 27 or more.
Yeah, so they're cooked.
Yeah.
And they're winning against the Giants. They still get
another team.
25.
Yes, another team that also collapsed. Worse, I guess you would say that. I could even pose this question: which is a worse collapse, the Eagles or the Jaguars?
Jaguars.
The Eagles.
I only say the Jaguars because I think
they didn't make the playoffs.
They didn't make the playoffs, especially when they've had multiple opportunities to do so, which at least the Eagles made the playoffs. And for 2,
the only reason they made it is because they're in the NFC.
No, because they played better teams than the Jaguars.
But the Jaguars are in the AFC.
No, but they played better teams than the Jaguars.
What is the Jaguars' record?
9-8.
What's
11-6?
What's the 7? No, the 7th seed in the NFC.
Is look at the not the Rams, the Packers at 9-8.
9-8. So 9-8 could, you know what I'm saying? Like 9-8 in the NFC could get you in. 9-8 can't get you in the AFC. That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter because the Eagles played teams in the AFC that were better than the Jaguars. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills.
They beat the Bills too.
They beat the Chiefs.
I don't know. No, they didn't. They didn't
beat the Chiefs.
Let's not
hold on. I'm just saying.
Let's not sit here and act like.
I mean, they beat the Cowboys.
Okay, so
I mean,
the Jaguars did play.
They beat the Dolphins,
teams, but they lost to a lot of backups. Like they lost to Jake Browning in overtime.
Yeah,
that's
they
the
lost
problem.
to Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
and they had the Ravens.
Yep.
Then they lost to the Bucks by a lot.
They got smoked by the
Now,
Bucks.
this
But that
all
wasn't a
depends
game.
on what you mean, what you determine as a disappointment. Because one would say the Eagles had higher expectations, and so their fall
No.
The Eagles are defending NFC champs, and they started
10-1, and then they
Well,
collapsed to this level. People will say that's a
people
huge
felt like the
disappointment.
Jaguars could be the number 1 seed just based off of their schedule.
I don't care about that.
No, yes, you do, because we all picked them to win the division. And if they were to
But
be
we all
on,
picked the Eagles to win the conference. Most of us did, didn't you?
I did.
And now they're 5th seed.
But at least
play their first.
at least they're 11-6 in the playoffs.
Bro, that's that's not the 10-1
They're not
team.
even in the playoffs.
That's not the 10-1 team. Eagles now.
The Jaguars team that they were.
But I'm saying, what's the expectations coming into the year? This is a team that they started
Bro.
10-1.
Okay, they're still in the playoffs to even say they have a chance to still get to where they want to be.
Bro, the Eagles were number 1.
Do they
Eagles
still have a chance? Do
The
they
Eagles
still
were the number 1 seed.
do they have a chance to-
The Jaguars number 1 seed at any
Do
point.
do they still have a chance to get to where they need to be?
The Eagles do too.
I feel as though
I'm saying the Eagles have a chance. The Jaguars have no chance because they're not even in the playoffs to do so.
both teams showed the same kind of identity issues. Like the
Yeah.
Jaguars offense, once it was weird. Like once they lost Christian Kirk, their offense went to doo-doo. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to be a big factor.
The Eagles
I think it's
lose for a substantial amount of games.
They just lost their coordinators.
Travis
That's all it
Etienne.
is.
And their defense.
They
They
didn't lose
they
AJ
did
Brown
lose-
for a handful of
they,
games.
they did lose Slay for a while. They did lose.
Mm.
You're talking about one receiver, but we're talking about that they lost
But-
players
I'm
on
saying-
defense.
In terms of we're putting things into context, what the Jaguars had to work with versus their competition. Like again, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, so their schedule was going to be tough.
Yeah.
Right? And they did beat good teams, they lost to good teams. The Jaguars, in theory, should have been favored or competitive.
The
in
best team
all
that
of their
the Jaguars
games.
beat was the Bills.
Yeah, and that was before the. I mean, the
But
Bills
how
are weird.
Dorsey Bills?
Actually have.
There was been question marks about what the Jaguars been doing. Like it hasn't had that aesthetic where we're looking at them and we're like, okay,
Because the
this is
schedule
what
was
they're
so
trying
easy.
to do, and they're doing what they're trying to do.
The schedule was easier
For
for the
the
Jaguars.
Jaguars, the schedule was easy, but yet the Eagles lost their last 2 games to the Cardinals and the Giants.
I think
Yeah.
So why are we bringing up the strength of schedule and whose schedule was hard? They can't even beat teams that are nowhere near the playoff picture.
for me, I
But
think
neither did the damn.
it's more.
They're not defending
This
conference
comes-
champions.
No, but they still have a
It
chance.
comes,
They still have a
it
chance.
comes to the quarterback.
They still have a chance.
Who do you have more question marks about? Trevor Lawrence or
Trevor
Jalen Hurts?
Lawrence.
That's why I would go with the Jaguars because I feel like even watching the game against the Titans, the amount of throws that even just little out routes that Trevor Lawrence was missing. The final drive where he missed Calvin Ridley on the deep ball, that would have been a touchdown. Like
Well,
in those moments, when Trevor Lawrence was coming out and the expectation that he had, even him being able to build and come back against the Chargers in the playoffs last year, we expected Trevor Lawrence to take a step toward being.
And he
that
had a
guy.
worse season than Jalen Hurts.
All right, let me ask you this: if they get knocked out in the first round, which is what everybody's predicting right now, the Eagles,
Mhm.
does that change your opinion on
Nope.
who had a worse collapse?
Nope. It'll still be the Jaguars for me.
No, it'll be the Eagles for me. If they lose this playoff game, for sure.
I still
Here's
think
my
the
thing.
Jaguars.
What do you
Going
think the
in,
Jaguars are going to do going into the season?
I had them in the. I think I had them in the divisional round.
And you
What
had
did you have the
and
Eagles?
you had the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If the Eagles lose in the first round,
And
I
they
feel like
don't
that's worse.
sniff the Super Bowl. It's still a bit
so I say all this because going into this year, the foolishness that I heard revolving around Jalen Hurts, elite quarterback,
elite.
top 3 quarterback, already just ascended past Josh. Like he was.
No.
Oh,
no.
that was what I'm saying.
No. I want to say never.
Because I was like, whoa, hold on.
No,
Let's
That was sad.
That was it. It was Mahomes, Bam, Hurts. That was the order.
Josh.
Even on like first take, it was like now Hurts, like it was like a bash on Josh. Hurts now was sending him first. It was just you had to get past Mahomes, then you had to get past Burrow, now you got to get past
Not
Hurts.
only that,
Hurts was in the
not only
3.
that, not only that, but the contract as well.
Yes.
That
Right?
fueled that.
So
He got paid like an elite quarterback.
yeah. So all of that happens if you are 10-1. All right. Ain't no way if that is if he's the guy that you guys. And I'm not saying you guys as you guys. I'm just saying if that is what the narrative is about this man throughout the season and all of that off of one season, then this is to me a bigger disappointment because on the other hand, when I looked at the conversation, the narrative around Trevor Lawrence, it was he's coming. He's the prince who was promised he's coming versus the dude who arrived. So I'm like, you collapsing as the person arrived is worse to me than you collapsing as someone who's still supposedly on the verge.
If the Ravens had a similar collapse, where they started 10-1, lost 5 of their last 6, and then go into the playoffs as the 5 seed, what are we saying?
So many question marks around Lamar.
It's question marks, but it's still question marks around Hurts. Like that's not. There's not a difference in what the perception would be.
It is.
Because you're having it.
Lamar.
We've been killing Hurts.
Who's been killing Hurts? I've just been hearing coordinators.
No, bro, because they are definitely saying that Hurts is not playing well.
Yes, but they're saying because of coordinators. Guess not saying, hey, maybe he just had one good year. Maybe this isn't really that 1 year was just a one-off and he's really not that good. That is not the conversation. It is, they need their coordination needs to do better for him.
Shouldn't be in this spot.
They should not. They should not be 5 seed.
People are blaming the defense than they are the offense.
No, it's both for me. Both for me, man. I can't.
But I think people are blaming it more because if you were to just look at numbers, Jalen Hurts still has good numbers in terms of touchdowns and yards. It's just that the offense has not looked good. And it's essentially because it's like who has been able to step up? If it's not Hurts, it's nothing. So if he's not playing well, the entire offense is not playing.
My issue, and this goes along with my theory about playing clean football in December going into the postseason. My issue that I also have with them is the fact that off the field, they're having issues, especially in their locker room. Your number one receiver, twice during the season, your number one receiver has come out and said, I'm unhappy because I'm not getting the ball enough.
Yeah.
And you're getting ready to go into the postseason with that. Like that's, to me, I feel like it was a distraction early in the year because we saw it early in the year. What did they want to do? They wanted to run the football. He complained about it. The Bucs game happened. He got damn near 10 targets in the first quarter. Like, here, shut up. Like, that's what it felt. It feels like that again. And that's not what you need going into the postseason, especially when you.
I wouldn't say it's like that because they don't even get a chance to give him the ball.
He's yelling on the safety.
No. I'm talking about with the targets. How you said that they were trying to feed him again, but it's not happening.
I'm talking about just him being unhappy.
Okay, yeah.
In the offense. You don't need that is a distraction. You don't need that going.
To be honest, to be fair, they can't even run the football right now. So either whether it's passing or running, they can't do anything.
All right, so hold on, got to move forward. So with the two quarterbacks that are, to me, a disappointment, I'm going to talk about two brighter quarterbacks. Let's get into my man CJ and Love.
Jordan Love,
CJ
Stroud, Love and ball.
Both of them have been doing their thing to close out the season. Both of them had to win to get in. They both did their part to get in. Happy for both of them, especially CJ Stroud. I personally think CJ Stroud is going to be the best quarterback of the AFC South moving forward, without a question mark. Unless Richardson says otherwise to me.
Until he's
right now, it's Stroud.
Richardson's athleticism.
Yeah,
it's fair.
His passing ability.
It's fair for you to say. It's fair for you to say he's the best in the South now. Like that's probably not even a question right now. I like to give some grace, but for future tense, I want to wait and see what Richardson does.
Yeah, I'm saying
Trevor Lawrence out of the conversation for y'all.
Well, first of all, I was never a Trevor Lawrence believer.
I was, and I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in the Jags. I'm disappointed in the fact that they didn't make the play. They started off 8-3.
Yes.
You started off 8-3 and was on the verge of getting a potential number 1 seed.
Yes.
The Jaguars
So-
are weird too. Also, real
No,
quick. Just
no.
But
I'm
CJ
trying to get onto these
Lamb
two
did
guys.
rushing
but
two of the last 4
But
games.
for
That's
CJ
stupid.
and the
Give
Texans,
Travis Etienne.
we gotta give flowers to D'Amico Ryans, that staff, for putting this particular team together. You can look at this team and say, hey, this may be the blueprint to how to handle a rookie quarterback. You're bringing a guy in with that caliber, but see, you went out, you got veterans, you got Devin Singletary, who's been playing better in Houston than he did in Buffalo.
Definitely
You went
not.
out and you got Dalton Schultz. You locked up Laramie Tunzel. You locked up Titus Howard. He got knocked out for the year. I get it, he was hurt, but you didn't put him in a situation where there's no it's a lose-lose situation for the rookie quarterback.
I don't know.
Unlike
about
the
that.
Panthers.
Unlike the Panthers,
Well,
right?
because here's the difference that I think when it came to, I do think offensive line definitely better and
They
helped
could have
out
easily
CJ.
let Tunzel walk.
I don't think because he was always their best player and they have the
They
cap
still
space.
could let him walk.
Nah, but they wasn't letting him walk. He's been there. Nah, he's too instrumental of a player for him to
Need that
let him
left
walk.
tackle.
Especially when they're
Right,
not
but you
paying,
still
they're
gotta-
not paying nobody else.
Right, but you
Okay.
still got to give him credit for locking him up and saying, "Hey,
I mean, yeah,
instead of saving money,
too.
instead of saving
So-
There's
money,
no money to save.
Hold on. So real quick.
I do think I think that blueprint wise, I'm not sure if this is the blueprint for a rookie quarterback. Only because we came into the season, it's not like we felt that this running game is going to be really good. We thought it was going to be more Dameon Pierce than Devin Singletary. We also thought that receivers wise, they still had a ways to go. I think CJ Stroud was better at what he did rather than what people projected him.
like he said,
To
it
do.
wasn't what the Panthers did. The Panthers bought in an aging receiver and an often injured receiver and gave him to Bryce Young and say, "Hey, do work."
And trade away their best weapon.
I mean, but they tried to do the same thing in drafting. They got DJ. I mean, not DJ Chark. They had
Adam
Terrence
Thielen?
Marshall.
Oh.
They had Terrence Marshall. Obviously, they got DJ Chark on free agency, which is a veteran receiver that people thought, okay, he could be a good viable option. And they got Miles Sanders, who had a great year with Philly, and they thought he could replicate that with the Panthers, and that didn't happen. They tried to draft offensive line, and it just hasn't really worked out. So I think it was more of the development factor with the Texans more so than how they did their play call and what coaches were. I think it was more of a coaching thing than a personnel thing.
All right. So where I was trying to give love to Love and CJ Stroud and not do a CJ Stroud Bryce Young conversation.
Okay.
So
You-
with these two quarterbacks both now getting into the playoffs for the first time as first-time starters, obviously in different places in their careers, but still first-time starters, who do you think can go further?
I think they both lose.
So they okay. You got them losing the wild card both.
Yeah,
so
I got both of them losing the wild.
So he got
I'm
them
cheering
down.
for you, Jordan Love, very hard. I definitely would love if they were able to go ahead and beat Cowboys. That'd be great. But for what Jordan Love is doing with the weapons he hasn't had Christian Watson. He hasn't had Luke Musgrave. He's been working with Jaden Reed as his one and Dontavian Wicks. I guess whichever one you want. And
Watson should be back.
No, but we're saying that he's just
I'm
playing
saying
without.
Jaden West has gotten better. That was what was crazy. He's turned the ball over less. He can make any throw that you need him to make. And Jaden Reed, for example, he's been a very good wide receiver. He's only a rookie. And he is just a little quick, fast guy. But in their scheme, however, they're getting him open, or maybe he's just that nice. Jordan Love's been able to get him the ball, make him look nice. They're able to put the ball in the end zone.
So you're choosing the Packers?
In terms of who's going to be better going forward, I thought you want to talk about Jordan Love a little bit. That's all.
So you didn't hear the question at all.
You said
Which
Who
team do you
think
think is
farther?
going to go further in the playoffs?
Oh no, I don't know.
So let me ask you guys this question. So the Browns and Texans played early in the season, early December.
Without Stroud.
CJ did not play. That's the
Yeah.
point I was going to bring up. And they only lost by 2 touchdowns.
I mean, that's a big two.
For me,
It's 14 points.
the
It
Browns
was, yeah.
floor.
That's 28-14. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't sound close.
The Browns floor is higher than the Cowboys is. Excuse me. The Browns defense is always going.
I think that's the defense going to
That's real-
take
it's-
him over the hump.
But you're saying all this to say what? Why are you bringing this up? What point are you trying to get to? Are you saying that you
with
think that
CJ
Stroud
not
is
be
gonna?
those 2
You
touchdowns.
think Stroud would be able to go further?
We do say it's hard to beat a team twice in the same season, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And it's not a divisional opponent.
Yeah, but
This ain't Davis Mills out there throwing. That's who Cleveland had to deal with the first time around.
Yes.
yeah.
Like CJ Stroud, I know he's a rookie, but CJ is different.
and
I just-
didn't have-
So-
I just trust in this defense and Miles Garrett.
So you think the Texans will go further than the Packers?
Yes.
So then you have the Texans beating the Browns.
I didn't say I had them beating the Browns. I'm just saying.
Pick
I
on
think
Thursday. I just want to
I
know
think they can.
if
They,
you
the team can go further.
I didn't ask if you had them. You can say that you have one going to the AFC Championship and one going to the divisional round. I don't know when you're picking them to lose or not. I just want to know who you think is going
They
further.
can go further. Yes.
I think the Browns have a higher floor, but the Cowboys at home have been very good. I would be more confident picking CJ Stroud to beat the Browns than I would to have Jordan Love beat the Cowboys.
I think Packers. I like the Texans more, and it could be just my biases because Stroud came in the league like this and Love just been chilling.
Yeah.
So to me, I have a little bit more skepticism on Love. Yes. Because it's the same thing with like even when you make the comparison with Josh versus Mahomes. Like Mahomes came into the league, lighting the world on fire. Josh was trash. So it's like, okay, I gotta see more from you because you took a while. So I don't know if I should believe what I'm seeing. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, CJ Stroud comes into the league and he lighting it up. You was just chilling for the past couple of years. So I'm like,
but this is first time.
But and as you came out the gate kind of sluggish too. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, are you really that guy? Are you a guy?
He came on fire and then was sluggish and then kept firing again.
Okay, so but I'm just like, I'm like, I'm liking what you're doing, and maybe you'd be doing more if your receivers would stay healthy. But all of them drop at one point. All three of them have been hurt between Dobbs, Reed, and Watson. All three of them have been hurt at some point in the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I thought that Stroud's production would have dropped once Tank went out, but it didn't. When Nico got hurt, I thought it would drop, but they're still winning. Like I thought that it would they just would not be able to keep up anymore because they don't have Tank anymore. And then Nico goes down.
Thought it would fell off a cliff.
Yeah, I thought it was just over, and it hasn't. So I have to give credit to Stroud that he's able to just work with whatever he's got, adapt, and not just that, but the culture. Obviously, they have that next man up mentality, which is great.
D'Amico,
So I'm taking Texans.
D'Amico deserves his flowers, man, because things were not looking too rosy for them when they had to go on the road to New York against the Jets. And CJ was knocked out of that game with a concussion. They lost that game. I think they ended up going 7. They were 7-6 at that point, and it looked like they needed some extra help to get in the playoffs. But that was their last.
But they won one of those games he was out.
They did, but they were able to steer the ship. And they won 3 of their last 4, and all 3 of those wins came against divisional opponents. So he was able to say, hey, we still got a chance to do this because we have divisional opponents to close out the year.
You're talking about CJ?
Yeah, no, D'Amico. Just his message to the
yeah.
team. We're 7-6, but we still got a chance to do this.
The last 2 dubs.
We got divisional opponents at the end of the year. We can really turn this thing around. And lo and behold, them winning 3 of the last 4 against divisional opponents as division champs.
Yeah.
And he hasn't go to pick
Yeah.
5 straight games neither.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I even though I have both of them losing, I do think that both quarterbacks have been exceptional. I think Jordan Love,
In their own right.
Jordan Love literally is second in the league in touchdown passes, and he's number 7 in passing yards. I don't think anybody would have thought Jordan Love coming into the season would be second in passing touchdowns and seventh in passing.
That's your starting tight end.
Honestly, watching the games, it doesn't look like it. But what you do see is the confidence.
But like
you see a guy that's relaxed.
He gonna fly.
He's
like
composed. He knows like this is my team. I'm here.
This man has only thrown one pick in like 9 weeks.
Man,
Like Mans has been balling.
He hooping, man. My man hooping.
All right, we talked.
Oh my bad. I was gonna say, and then just Stroud has just been Stroud. I think they're both going to be great quarterbacks that have 10, 15 years of
rookie of the year.
No.
Do they do AFC and NFC or just
no?
They do have AFC and NFC.
Is it AFC Rookie of the Year?
It's offensive Rookie of the Year, defensive
Rookie of the Year. Yeah,
instead of just Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year is legal.
I don't know why I thought it was
offensive Rookie of the Year. No,
good offensive. Yeah, it's Puka.
I'm going Puka.
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I'm going Puka.
Yeah,
he broke wide receiver records for rookies, so
he deserves that.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
Okay,
I'm cool with that. I was trying to think. I'm forgetting somebody. Puka's answer.
Yeah, he's the answer.
All right, cool. Last thing. Obviously, today's Monday, the last day, or not the last day, the day after the last game of the regular season. So you know what that means?
Black Monday.
Black Monday. I don't know what I was about to say.
I don't think I'll say that at all. I was just gonna say people getting fired.
Black Monday, bro. Just call it what it is.
Wait, Judgment Day.
I like that.
That's even.
It's Judgment Day. Can I do my part?
What? You Black Monday, let it go.
Different things about that, so I'm not doing all that.
Apologetic speech.
So here is the news. If you do not already know, obviously, yes, Ron Rivera is gone.
Pink slip.
Jeez,
appreciate you. You did a good job being a good man.
Panthers GM is now gone. Obviously, their head coach was already gone earlier. Falcons, Arthur Smith is gone.
I was gonna say, I thought he was gonna leave us in the dust.
No.
It's okay, man.
Falcons, Arthur Smith is also gone. Am I missing a coach? Or are those the only coaches who've been gone?
I believe so.
And
they are the ones that are gone.
They were the two that were fired today. There were three that were fired in season.
Yes.
So
okay.
This one coordinators.
So with that,
Commanders GM is also fired.
I'm so sorry. Yes.
Yeah, Mark
Dallas. All right. So with that being said,
Panthers GM is fired.
Yes, I said that one.
Oh yeah.
With that being said, the vacancy that didn't happen that we thought would happen, Bill is still in.
For now.
Yes. He says that he's willing to give up GM if need be. We'll see.
That's key.
That is key. So with that being said, those are the vacancies. Eric, obviously, you feel happy. Got it. Great. Love it for you.
We're in a great spot.
All right. Great. I'm moving on. Great. You got any takes you want to say about any head coaches vacancies that have happened?
Hey, don't talk about the Falcons.
Don't know what that's like. Ooh. We're good over here. There's no more season. Sorry, guys.
No shame.
Your day will come. Your day will come at some point.
Hey, look.
Had it.
Those playoffs. All right.
Why do you support that behavior? Why do you do
This is entertainment. All right. So with that being said,
we've lost views.
I'm gonna wrap this thing up unless you have something else you want to say about these coaches.
The Belichick thing stood out to me because for him to come out in this presser and say, I'm willing to relinquish the GM deal, that sounded like something that was brought up to him within the building. There's no way he's going, because we all know how he is when it comes to press conferences. There's no way he's going to mention any of that if it was not brought to the forefront. And I feel like someone in that building said, hey, you need to think about
your future,
letting this go at least. Head coach is one thing, but you need to relinquish the personnel duties. Could have been Kraft, I don't know, but I felt like that was someone told him that. Someone whispered that in his ear.
It had to be Kraft.
Man, may have been.
When you look at the Pro Bowlers that the Patriots haven't drafted,
don't really care about
over
Yes, we do. I don't know why you keep
but
saying
again,
that. But we do care.
But
You
even
don't care.
if
You
the
don't
Pro
care.
Bowl is so easy to make, the fact that the Patriots Pro Bowls that they've drafted over the last couple of years have been what? Mac Jones, and they've
And a
had
punter.
and Matthew Slater and
That's it.
Jim
Dion didn't make a
Stanley
Pro Bowl?
had
I don't-
Gronk
I
for a
don't
little
think
bit.
so.
There's somebody else that I'm missing, but like
No. But they talk
Who's
about
Bill
players
Bennett
that he
GM?
drafted.
Oh, he
Who-
drafted. Gotcha.
Yeah.
like Matthew Judon was signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick ain't drafted.
Like Gilmore also. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
With the Bills.
Bill's
yes.
drafted.
yeah.
Right.
Yes.
When you look at that factor in terms of personnel and what that means, if you're not able to put productive people on your team based on who you drafted, like we looked at Kyle Duggar was picked in the second round out of nowhere,
Under.
Mm-hmm.
and he's been solid. But
But he didn't have to. He was picked too high.
he's picked too high.
So you say all this to say,
I say all this to say that he better relinquish the duties if he want to keep his job. But if not, he got to go.
I always thought I think that he should stay if he relinquishes the duty, just because I think he's still a good coach. Because we did see that the Patriots had fight, like they actually were in games at the end of the year for most of their games, and it's like if you know that he can coach, you can just put the talent around him. I think it's still a possibility that they can get back to being a good team. Obviously, like it'll take a year or two because of the fact that he made the cupboard so bare. But can they get to being 7-10 and then being 9-8 and then building it back up? I think it's possible.
Can we give one quick head coaching prediction?
sure.
You got one?
Head coaching position for who?
He ain't paying
The
no
openings.
Or who won't get fired?
No, I'm saying like
Like who's gonna get hired?
higher.
Who won't get hired?
Just one,
Oh,
real quick. You take
I
it to
have
the
one quick. Go ahead. You go first.
You don't have one quick.
No, I don't have one quick. I'm thinking about my own team.
Harbaugh to LA.
Chargers.
Antonio Pierce gets kept by the Raiders.
Oh, I like that one.
I would love that for them.
I like that one.
That would go against
I hope that
every
happens.
trend
I
that
hope.
the NFL
Yeah,
has had with
man.
black coaches over the
I
last.
think Eric Bieniemy gets his first job.
To where?
I don't know. I just think
Man, I
it's
wanna see-
finally time.
I want to see that
Chicago?
happen too.
That's just my prediction, and I feel like that's a hell of a prediction.
They're gonna keep it.
I think Eberflus is staying.
Yeah.
I think that's a hell of a, if it happens, I feel like that's a hell of a prediction because he's been in the talks for so long
wanna
and
see it.
nothing.
I want
I
to see
think
that.
Like the
it's
main-
time.
Not like season with the Commanders and he gets a job would be crazy.
How backwards would that be?
Yeah.
You still don't have one?
I would.
We're gonna wait
I
till next
want
episode.
the Commanders to get Mike McDonald, DC from the Raiders. That's what I want. Good deal.
All right, I'm gonna close it. Yep.
Coach gonna be.
I don't know.
All right. I closed this shit. No.
The thing is,
Take on that.
All right.
you were nasty.
Thank you for watching.
Sideline and break up. Okay. I'm sorry.
You can't do nothing.
Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. We'll be back here on Thursday. We are Outspoken. Say what you mean what you say. I'm speaking extremely fast because I know they're gonna cut me off at some point. So for me, I'm Cordell.
Damn, that's
Marcus,
trauma. That's
Shout out to them Niners, baby. Number 1 seed. We coming, dog. He rock.
Deuce. Bye.